evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, December 8, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. I was afraid for my life. GECOM chair tells COI why she locked herself in a room at ASHMIN'S building. Woman living in fear after neighbor allegedly beats and threatens to kill her. New high-yielding coconut variety introduced to Guyana. MASAKENARI residents to benefit from Telemedicine initiative. And journey along the Kanji River, home of the Kanji pheasant. Now for the news in detail. Chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Retired Claudette Singh, today took the stand before the ongoing Commission of Inquiry, during which she recalled feeling overwhelmed by events that played out in the days following the elections, and had locked herself in a room at the ASHMIN'S building out of fear for her life. Here is Vanu Manichand with our lead story tonight.
I felt a bit dizzy, I wasn't feeling well. There were so many things on my mind, I was actually shaking. Because then, you see, with the declaration, and then you had this thing happen. There were so many events. There was an injunction filed by Mr. Nandalal, then against the declaration, and there were so many things on my mind, and I wanted to know what to do, the next step. So I just couldn't be bothered with anybody. I went up there just to have a quiet moment.
That was GECOM Chair Justice Claudette Singh relating to the Commission of Inquiry about retreating to an office during the chaos at ASHMIN'S building on March 5. At the time, in March 2020, there were reports that the GECOM chair was being held hostage in a room. But Justice Singh clarified that it was her who locked herself in since she was afraid for her safety.
I heard songs from outside, and the songs outside, I heard a lot of songs. But then, after I heard people say, we want the chairman, and then I heard footsteps, and like people were rushing into the building, and then I heard they say they'll break the door. And I panicked. I became very much afraid. And I said, look, and I dialed Miss Amna Ali, and I called her because I was afraid for my life. I thought people were coming to harm me.
At that time, were you aware that the people on the outside thought you were being held captive?
I wasn't so aware, but then afterwards I realized that when I saw who were the persons who tried to break, I saw Josh and I saw Inspector Narayan, and they would not harm me.
Okay. During this?
Because the first thing they asked me, are you all right? And I said yes. And then they looked like they had some relief.
The GECOM chair went on to explain that while she was in the room having a quiet time to herself, there were several calls coming through her cell phone, but she did not take them.
I was receiving a lot of calls, but I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't feel up to it to talk to anyone.
Now, in your paragraph 22, I want you to have a look at the last sentence.
Yes, where
You say, I did not know who to trust, is that correct?
Yes. So I just wanted to be by myself.
This matter attracted severe global attention. It was quite a commotion in the days, caused you stress. But to say you couldn't be bothered seems odd because you're in the chair and you're in the middle of a very serious situation. I simply want to know that at that point, did you call the other commissioners and say, look, I'm feeling stressed, let's meet together and weather the storm. I am not taking this on my own. Did that occur to you, or you just prefer to shut yourself
No,
away?
at that time the commissioners might have left. This was later in the afternoon. People were leaving. And when I said I couldn't be bothered, I wasn't speaking about the commission work or anything. This is personal. When I say I couldn't be bothered, it's just that I don't know, I just wanted that quiet moment, and then I heard all this noise. And I was afraid for my life, because when I heard people running up the stairs, I thought they were going to harm me.
The elections COI will be taking a break for the holidays and will resume its work on January 4, 2023. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manakchand.
An East Bank Berbice woman is now living in fear after a neighbor allegedly attacked her in her Rotterdam home and is now making threats to end her life after she reported the incident to the police. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports that as the woman was on her way to the police station when the man reportedly tried to stop her.
72-year-old Diorati Nikram of Rotterdam, East Bank Berbice says the incident occurred just before nightfall on Sunday. According to her, after having an interaction with one of her neighbor's children, the neighbor came into her house and grabbed her by the throat and slapped her several times.
When he slapped me, he took me urine off myself.
Meanwhile, her reputed husband, Vernon Crozier, says he was lying in the hammock when the neighbor returned to the house, and he was the target.
When he slapped this lady, I was in the hammock, laid down straight. I was laid down in the hammock, and she was there. When he ran into the house, I don't have nothing in my hand. The guy is a very strapping chap. I couldn't fight with him. So he choked the lady now, and I hollering for her son was at the back there bathing in the bathroom. By the time he rushed, she also done get her, she couple slap her, she get on the choke, she hold on her throat. And then he leave full speed and he come back to the wood. And I was laid down still and I said, girl, change your clothes and let we go to we can't take this, they'll go to the police. Alright, anyway. When he come back, I didn't know that he coming back. When I lay down here, they would catch me straight here. And I get so dizzy and blood after then. And then his son come and said, let me go to the station.
The man showed this newscast a piece of wood which was used in the attack.
When I'm going out on the road now, he blocked them on the road. Me walk away because I frightened. And he harassed his son out there and he blocked him from going to the station. He said he's going to kill she.
The suspect is living in this house right there on your screen behind me, while the man who's making the allegation, Koja, he is living right here.
I sleep at my son's house.
Just tell me why you're not sleeping home.
I'm afraid.
Why?
I say you'll kill me.
You reported this incident to the police?
Yes.
And tell me what has happened since you reported. What have they done?
They say the patrol will come for you, they gotta get you, they gotta catch you, but he does only come in the night and go in the night. You don't see in the day. But the wife and the children, them, they're right in the polling camp.
Have they come to, you said that the wood and everything, all the evidence is here. Have the police come? The police come to look at them?
Police never torn up here. Never torn up. Also report to Nama police and to the corporal the next day. And the corporal take down the statement. She said these people ain't doing nothing. She gonna get it done. And after the when she said she started send me home, she said she gonna deal with it because she gotta get a patrol jeep to look for this boy. This boy, since he come here, he making a lot of disturbance. People thieving people things.
The Sisters police station is less than a mile away from here. From Rotterdam on the east bank of Berbice, for the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Some 700 residents of Region 3 have been allocated house lots by the Housing and Water Ministry's Central Housing and Planning Authority. Rupa Sinarayan reports.
At the Dream Realized exercise, which was held at the Lenora Track and Field facility on Wednesday, house lots were allocated to individuals within the low, moderate, middle, and high income brackets at the Stewartville and Mettenmeerzorg housing schemes. Upon taking office in 2020, the new government met an application backlog of more than 14,000 in the region. Thus far, government had allocated 4,259 house lots to residents at previous exercises in the past 2 years, as compared to just 700 house lots under the coalition government in their 5-year tenure.
Since we are all in office, from August 2020 to now, that's prior to today, we have allocated 4,259 lots. And to really put that into the real context, versus 2015 to 2020, an allocation of only 776. Over 550% increase in allocations in 2 years versus 5 years previously.
Minister Kroll also highlighted that the first phase of infrastructure work was completed in a number of new housing areas, while the second phase will commence under his ministry's 2023 work program. The minister has also outlined several other projects that will transform the region, such as the Schooner to Crane 4-lane highway and Wales Development Project.
These are projects, when taken together, are driven and led to rising of our economic activities in this region and creation of wealth and job opportunities. So we at the Ministry and Central Housing and Planning Authority are investing heavily in providing infrastructure for our housing drive, and this includes continuing land acquisition because we have to keep growing.
Meanwhile, Minister within the Housing Ministry, Suzanne Rodriguez, in her remarks stated that the government's housing drive seeks not only to provide house lots, but also to ensure that these options are affordable for Guyanese, especially vulnerable groups.
You would have heard recently too, I announced that 8,000 women, single women, received house lots from 2020 to now. And that is an important achievement for the women of our country, ensuring that we promote gender parity, ensuring that we protect vulnerable groups. This includes our women, it includes our young people, it includes people with disability.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
The Ministry of Agriculture's Hope Coconut Industries Limited, in collaboration with the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, has introduced the Brazilian green dwarf coconut variety into Guyana. Vanu Manichand tells us more.
The first shipment, comprising 1,000 seed nuts, arrived in Guyana from Brazil last October, paving the way for intensive research and product development intended to become a game changer for the local coconut industry. The Brazilian green dwarf variety is best known for its high-yielding properties as well as its high tolerance to attacks from common pests and diseases that usually affect other varieties of coconuts. Its most outstanding characteristic, however, is its ability to produce a higher volume of water than other varieties commonly grown in Guyana. This variety is also said to produce water that has a very high sucrose level, making it sweeter than other varieties. Speaking during the launching ceremony on Wednesday, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said coconut is one of the priority commodities that has been identified for increased production.
So for this year, we have seen the budgetary allocation to the coconut sector increased to $66 million. And to date, the coconut industry have raked in approximately $1.5 billion to the revenue base in our country.
Mustafa noted too that with the global coconut industry anticipating tremendous growth by 2026, it was critical for Guyana to ready itself to tap into that market. He also encouraged farmers to capitalize on this and other opportunities being created by government.
If you look today at the coconut industry, a large portion of the coconut industry engages in primary processing of coconut. What we have been doing over the last 2 years, we have been working with the private sector and other counterparts to produce more value-added products. For example, we heard that this green dwarf coconut from Brazil has the capacity to produce oil, copra, water. But I didn't hear the manager talk about the husk, which is very important. Now we are procuring these equipment that will help us to make the husk in a more value-added way, which can help the farmers to earn revenue. So all the parts from the coconut will be in use in our country. That is the value-added part that I am talking about. So, as I said, we are looking to develop all the husks, the shell, the meat, the coconut water, so that we can have a total package coming out of Guyana.
An additional shipment containing another 1,000 seed nuts is expected to arrive in Guyana before the end of the year. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manakchand.
Coming up, new charges instituted against accused in Auntie Betty murder, and Human Services Minister expresses concerns amid escalated murders of women. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Optic offers great patient care that is tailored for my entire family.
At Optic, a wide selection of affordable optical frames and optical services are available to fit your budget.
At Optic, my family is provided with comprehensive eye examination and access to their ophthalmology services, all under one roof.
Optic takes pride in delivering exceptional customer service and a unique experience to you, our customers.
Optic Vision Care is a company that is Guyanese born and grown that will help you take care of your precious eyes.
Did you know that the government has funded the 2022 budget through oil revenues? Yes. Money earned from oil production offshore is being used to support projects in Guyana, including social programs like the increase of public assistance and old age pension, as well as cash grants to support the vulnerable members of society.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe. Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. As a result of continuous rainfall over the past few days, several residents and vendors of Study Region 2 were severely affected by flooding, with water levels reaching as high as 6 inches in some cases. When the Evening News visited some of the affected areas on Wednesday, residents were seen bailing water out of their house. Some persons have suffered damage to their household items like refrigerators and wardrobes, while others have claimed that important documents were destroyed by the floodwaters. Persons claim that the flooding is due to a clogged drain in the community, and they are calling on the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to intervene. Residents are also hoping that the government would compensate them for their losses. We now tell you that new charges were today instituted against the accused in the murder of 85-year-old Simintra Saw, called Auntie Betty. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael, who has been following the developments in the murder investigation, reports.
37-year-old Roshni Bazdio, called Mala, a mother of 3, made a virtual court appearance on Thursday, where Magistrate Peter Yu, sitting at the Fort Wellington Magistrates Court, told her that the police were withdrawing the murder charge against her. She was then charged jointly with Mohammed Shahid in relation to the murder of her 85-year-old great-aunt, Sumintra Shaw, called Auntie Betty of Bushlot, West Coast, Berbice. It is alleged that the duo between November 27th and 28th murdered the pensioner on her birthday. Police prosecutor Corporal Garfield Edwards told the court that the prosecution is ready to commence the preliminary inquiry into the murder. Both accused will have to return to court on December 14th, when the prosecution is expected to make available all statements they have. Auntie Betty's lifeless body was discovered lying in a pool of blood on the morning of November 28th at about 4 hours at her Bush Lot, West Coast Berbice home. The media had reported that Basdio had confessed to killing the great aunt. She reportedly gave 3 confession stories, including the last one on Thursday before she was charged. In that statement, the woman reportedly said that her aunt had visited her at in the police lockups and told her to tell the truth. It was also reported that in the final confession statement, she said that it was she alone who killed her great aunt, contradicting the 2 previous statements she had allegedly given to the police. She was initially charged last Friday with murder. Shahid also reportedly confessed to the crime. This house behind me is the house that Auntie Betty's body was found in. Her house here at Bush Lot on the west coast of Berbice. One of the accused, Mohammed Shahid, lives in this house just behind her. It had been reported in the media that Shahid gave a confession statement to the media. In that statement, it is alleged that he said he did murder Auntie Betty. According to that statement, which, as it was reported, he lashed her 4 times in her head after he picked up a piece of wood that he found in her yard. That's what he said he killed her with. He also said that Basdio had promised to pay him, but she did not pay him. In the confession statement, it had been reported that he said he did not stab her. He said he do not know after he left Auntie Betty's body lying there what happened to her. The post-mortem report showed that there were several stab wounds to her head. From Bush Lot on the west coast of Berbice, outside of Auntie Betty's former home, for the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Human Services and Social Security Minister Dr. Vindhya Prasad has called for action in addressing the worrisome rate at which women of all ages are being killed in Guyana. More in this Rupasina report.
Human Services Minister Dr. Vindhya Prasad engaged ranks with senior members of the ministry's team from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Policy Unit, and Gender Affairs Bureau on Wednesday as part of the 16 Days of Activism efforts. Through the session, officers from the Guyana Defence Force participated in the Community Advocates Network training as part of sensitization and awareness efforts. It was pointed out that the recent escalation in women being killed needs to be addressed.
We are all aware that in the last few weeks, women of various ages would have lost their lives to many persons, including at the hands of persons within their families. Now, domestic violence, gender-based violence is not a new phenomenon. If I were to ask anybody in here to tell me if they've never heard of gender-based or domestic violence, they will look at me questioningly because we've all been exposed to it, haven't we? Haven't we? Whether we read it in the newspapers or we knew someone in our community or family, we know that it exists. The important thing is, what are we going to do about it? Because we cannot continue to look on, remain an onlooker without exercising our personal or professional responsibility to confront, address, and to eradicate violence where it exists.
Dr. Prasad urged the ranks to exercise their professional responsibility in bringing down the numbers of abuse and violence cases, since they are one of the prime contacts for victims to reach out to.
The mindset of everyone going forward has to change. We've come up in a culture where we're seeing in homes conflict being resolved with violence. Let's face it, children grow up in homes where their fathers beat their mothers, and they use this method to resolve conflict. It's real. So it requires a conditioning of the mind to address conflict.
When it relates to the male population, she lamented that the issue of stigma and ostracization in sharing their experiences continue to be a prevalent occurrence. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Residents of MASAKENARI, also known as Guns Village, located in the deep south Rupununi of Region 9, will benefit from access to a higher quality of healthcare services with the introduction of a telemedicine clinic. Details in this report.
Because you are so far away from Letem, we want to make sure that we can use technology so that you can have access to a doctor. And the way we'll do that is to do something called telemedicine. If the healthcare worker that is based here cannot understand what is the complaint, then they can call up a doctor in Georgetown, and that doctor would help in terms of making a diagnosis and offering treatment.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony addressing residents of MASAKENARI, Region 9 on Wednesday. He, along with other officials, traveled to the community to launch a telemedicine clinic which has been equipped with a digital stethoscope, pulse oximeter, infrared thermometer, blood pressure monitor, mobile ultrasound, exam cameras, among other technological devices that will be used in the delivery of this service. Dr. Anthony emphasized that this investment will significantly improve the quality of health care in the village. He noted, too, that MASAKENARI is one of 4 communities in Region 9 benefiting from the telemedicine initiative. Tushau Paul Shakima says this program will greatly benefit his people.
My people happy to see this kind of project.
Meanwhile, the government has reported that funding for the expansion of this program has already been secured.
Region 6 may not be one of the places one would think of when looking for a tourist destination, but for bird-watching enthusiasts, the chance to see Guyana's national bird, the Kanji pheasant, in its natural habitat along the Kanji River may be worth the trip. Andrew Carmichael has this story.
The Kanji River, sometimes referred to as the Kanji Creek, located in northeastern Guyana, is the main tributary of the Berbice River. It runs roughly parallel to the Berbice River. The settlement of Baracara, where escaped slaves settled in the early 1800s, lies on the bank of the Kanji River, located approximately 120 kilometers or 75 miles upstream. Tours along the river are available, where the patrons can visit and see the Kanji pheasant, Guyana's natural bird. The tour operator is Dylan Ross of Blackwater Adventures.
We just went through Baracara. We're now at Turani Canal. Kareem is trying to catch some fish, which he did already. Definitely. And he'll probably catch some more. So fishing up here is wonderful. Also the sightseeing is wonderful. It's a beautiful place. From here going up is where we start to do our camping and hunting, those kind of things. It gets to be true beauty, true wilderness. But below here, you see a lot of the culture that is Kanji Creek. The people living in Baracara, that is really the beauty of this place. And so we'll no doubt have some clips of what it looked like as we were going through. We got some nice drone shots, so it'll be exciting to see what Baracara looks like.
The tour also gives nature lovers an opportunity to witness monkeys, sloths, and deers in their natural habitat. The scenery is breathtaking. The tour, which is relatively new, can also take tourists to Fort Nassau Dutch Heritage Site. Fort Nassau was the capital of the Dutch colony of Berbice in present-day Guyana. It is situated on the Berbice River, approximately 88 kilometers upstream from New Amsterdam.
So in addition to the Kanji Creek tour, we also do a tour of Fort Nassau, which incidentally is very close to us, because if we went across the Turani Canal, we'd be there in probably 20 minutes. Fort Nassau is a historical site. It's managed by the National Trust, and it is not one building. It's actually a village. It's the original Dutch seat right here in Guyana. So it's basically where, during the Dutch time, people settled. And so we go up there, we take you on about a 2.5 mile hike through the jungle. We're showing you all kinds of different sites where, for example, the Court of Assembly where coffee was tried. We've got the burial grounds that are there. The church is amazing. That's another trip we do. And then we do fishing tours on a regular basis. Probably is our most popular. And we also do the caiman experience, where we catch a live caiman, bring it on the boat, interact with it, educate you about it, and then release it back unharmed.
Have you been able to package it where a person can experience both the kanji and the Fort Nassau in one trip?
Good question. So on a good day, if we time it right, what we can do is we can go up the Berbice River to Fort Nassau, enjoy the day there, and then come across Terani Canal and down the Kanji Creek. But of course, that's got to work with timings because it's the tide that affects when those gates lower and raise. Also, if you have a big group like you guys do today, the big boat can't pass under there. So I'd have to be in my smaller vessel, which accommodates like anywhere from 1 to 8 persons.
You mentioned hunting and camping. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So we love doing camping trips. In fact, I just got back a couple days ago from a place called Ikura. Ikura is about 8 miles past here on the left-hand side. It's a small, very, very, very small creek that leads to a giant blackwater lake, and it's absolutely beautiful. So we went in there, went into the lake, camped there for a couple days, catch some fish. Some fish people love to catch, like the wolf fish, which is haimara, alukanani, and piranha and stuff. And then, of course, if you are a licensed hunter, you're welcome to come hunting with me. By licensed hunter, I'm talking about getting your license from the Ministry of Conservation and Wildlife. Oh! This is a big fish, you guys. This is a keeper. With that clampy, Nah, he might bust it off. Look at those teeth there, man. That's a fish. That is a fish. Come on. And just like that, he's off. Good job, boss.
The $12,000 package also includes snacks and alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. Pets can also be taken on the ride.
On tours, I'm in here about 4 or 5 days a week.
Do you have prospect of intention to expand?
Yeah, if I can find someone who is licensed, especially a boat captain. A lot of people in Guyana tend to proclaim themselves to be licensed, but they don't actually have a license. So this is an actual boatmaster grade 3 speedboat captain license, and it's not that difficult to get, but it is a legal requirement. In addition to that, if they want to be a tour guide, they have to be licensed with Guyana Tourism Authority. So finding persons who have put themselves through the procedures needed has been a little difficult. But if anyone's watching and they have done that, by all means reach out to me because I would like to expand. It's just finding personnel is it's been the biggest challenge. We have the official website, blackwater-adventures.com, and we're also on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those. And then we have a phone number, Guyana 592-610-9774.
For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge will be closed on Friday, December 9th at 4:15 hours for 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, December 9th at 16:35 hours, also for 1.5 hours.
Ali pledges continued growth of President's Cup tournament, and Rutherford, hoping success in T20 leagues, pushes him into West Indies team. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MACORP, coming up on the other side of the break.
It's November already and soon it will be Christmas, so we at John Lewis Styles are giving away one Amazon Echo show every week in November and every day in December. Stream music and videos, make video calls and control smart devices, alarms, reminders and lots more. Every $5,000 spent gives you a chance to win when you shop for clothing, footwear, watches, fragrances, handbags, luggage and accessories. So visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Pest Force, keeping you on a bug-free course. Call us today for a free inspection and quotation. 636-PEST. That's 636-7378 and 612-PEST. 612-737.
BioCleanse G. Hand sanitizing gel and spray. A 70% alcohol antiseptic. with a natural antiseptic moisturizing base and fragrance. Proven to be 99.99% effective against most common germs in as little as 15 seconds. BioCleanse G Hand Sanitizing Gel and Spray offers on-the-go protection. Distributed by Health International Incorporated.